All right, welcome to Whyspace.
Hey, y'all.
Happy day after the weekend of the NFL draft.
Oh, man. It was so exciting to have something NFL related this weekend.
That's exactly what I told Aaron. I was like, I'm just happy there's something football-y.
Yeah. Like legit football-y.
Yeah, it was great. So we're going to talk all about that today, but we'll start how we always do, a little entertainment news / thoughts. So this past week in New York, we had the Time 100 Most Influential People Gala. Now, something I realized or did not know, I'm sure you did because you're always well informed. I didn't realize that each nominee had to be nominated.
I mean, I just assumed they all buy their spot.
Well, that's what I thought, but apparently they also conjure up someone also famous to nominate them. So now I would really like to re-see the list and who they paid to nominate them.
Yes, because it's probably like I'll pay to this organization, like a charity donation, or like, oh, you owe me a favor and I could really use it right now.
Yeah.
Because I think that we've always said these are all bought. I don't know if I realized there was such a big gala for it. Okay.
Well, I remember last year there being a hoopla about a gala because we were hoping to see Taylor and Travis at it last year.
That's right.
I knew that it existed, but I feel like this year, I think more than ever, I'm a bit of a cynic. And it's actually going to come up in one of our questions today, this burden I'm carrying of my cynicism.
Okay.
But yeah, I just kind of looked at it all like, how did we define influential exactly? Because I mean, we had the gamut. We had like the Jalen Hurts of the world, Simone Biles, Blake Lively, Ed Sheeran. Like it was kind of Snoop Dogg. Like it was kind of everywhere.
I don't
know that we like had any defined criteria.
I think that's what it was. There's no parameters on what do we consider influential. Do you just mean like they kind of controlled the media for a chunk of time and that was influential in like the pop culture world, or they actually gave something back to mankind? Because then I feel like none of them probably should be on the list.
No, I don't know, but we got some some photos from the red carpet.
Yeah.
Anything that sticks out to you from the fashion from that?
I don't know that any specific one sticks out, but I do usually notice that there's not really a worse dressed at this kind of event. Nobody's trying to go like over the top.
Yeah, it's like they had some common sense this time.
Yeah. Just like, hey, I can dress nice, but don't be weird about it.
I did. It's gonna sound weird coming from me, but I did not like Blake Lively's dress.
The hip part was weird.
It was like chiffon.
Yeah.
Silk chiffon.
And she had on a lot of body makeup because you could see close to the arms where the bronzing stuff had wiped on the dress. And I was like, I don't know that I've ever noticed that before, but I'm sure that that's a problem for all women, like makeup and everything.
You know, I used to wonder, like, how do other women keep their makeup off their collars?
Yeah.
Little did I know we'd have to start worrying about our armpits. I mean, used to you were like, oh, I hope my deodorant doesn't get on my skirt, but now it's like my bronzer.
Well, and then if they do like a slicked back like hairstyle, then you got to make sure like your face matches the back. Like it's a lot. It's a lot.
You know, there are times when I wonder how we didn't become famous, and then there are times like this where I'm like, oh, thank God, that would really be too much. You know,
but we would just pay somebody to take care of it for us. Like, I'm going to sit here and drink my Starbucks while you guys fix my.
Clearly, Blake pays somebody who didn't smudge it in correctly. So, I mean,
setting spray, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Wasn't really a ton to report from it, but it was sort of a, like, I guess a bit of a precursor. We've got the Met Gala coming up.
Yes.
So we will definitely deep dive on the fashion there because there is always a plethora of content available.
There is. I kind of feel like people that used to, and we've talked about this at least the last 2 years, people that used to like go because the Met Gala was such a big thing really kind of seem to like not do it anymore. Number one, it's so expensive, which not that they don't have the money, but if they're going to pay that much money, they're going to put it towards something else. and it's become so influencer heavy and like D-list celebrities.
Yeah.
And I can't tell if like Anna Wintour is just trying to make sure that like it stays alive for the years to come. So you're trying to get new, fresh talent. But I feel like going influencers is not the route.
No, and I feel like, I don't know, this is just my prediction. I feel like this year's Met Gala is going to be overrun with influencers.
Okay, I'm kind of getting that impression too. And I'm kind of feeling like we're going to be let down by the number of actual celebrities that are there.
Yeah, I just feel like it's going to be very like Kardashian heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Just
because if you think about like George Clooney's of the world and people of like that celebrities, they're not standing in a mass huddle outside waiting to get their picture on the stairs anymore. Like it's past that.
No, it'll be interesting though. We do always enjoy the fashion, whether they're influencers or celebrities. There will be things to know for sure. Let's see. This past weekend, Justin Timberlake held his 8 a.m. golf tournament out in Vegas, and we got to see little Travis. Yep. Looks unfortunate under that hat. Looks like we're really still rocking that atrocious hair.
I was maybe once we get close to like camp, he'll update it a little. We know he's going to bring back the stash. I assume he will for his last year.
Yeah.
But like maybe we could do a new hairstyle. I still can't figure out if him and Patty Cuts are beefing because he's still at some games, but it doesn't look like he's been doing his hair at all.
I mean, it is very sharp, so he's still consistently getting it cut. The edges, I mean, there's no overgrown. Yeah, it's just a lot. I also didn't enjoy his golf fashion this weekend.
Oh, no, see, I thought it looked much better than years past when he's done like real thick outfits or just crazy things.
Yeah, well, I mean, granted,
Jason's was questionable, but
yeah, Jason's really leaning into that, like what I want to call the Adam Sandler of it all, and I don't love that.
I can't tell if he genuinely thinks he's funny or if it's like, I can't tell. It's like he's trying too hard to stand out, and I
like he's like trying too hard to act like he doesn't care.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's like somebody that went and bought a brand new pair of like Levi's and went and took them out to their driveway and ran it over the carport to get it the worn look, as opposed to just wearing them till they looked worn. Like very inauthentic. And I don't love that.
Do you think, because I think this would be hard for me if I was a celebrity like him. You had like the last, I don't know, 3 years solid of your career where like your family was what was in the media during football season. All eyes were on you. Yeah. Now, not to say that all eyes aren't still on their family, but like it has started to kind of fade off of him a smidge. I would still say you're pretty relevant with New Heights, with still doing stuff with Travis.
Yeah.
All of the content and still being an analyst on the TV, but it's different. Do you think that he's struggling with that of like not being one of the guys in the locker room? Because I also feel like he's still trying to be part of the Eagles, and my man, we need to retire. It's like the kid that graduates high school but still comes back every week and
goes to all the parties. Again, I don't know if this is my cynicism. Perhaps that is the title of today's episode. Why all the cynicism?
That's what happens when we get to our age. And
I don't all the cynicism, but I'm just not as up on Jason as I normally am.
No,
I don't like the vibe.
It's try hard, and that always turns us off instantly. As soon as it looks like you're trying way too hard for something, I'm done.
And also, like, I love the pomp and circumstance and tradition. And golf is one of those sports that still, like, has a dress code. And we just completely abandoned that. And I get this was a fun tournament, but must we wear the Hawaiian shirts cut off? Must we?
It was a fun tournament, but everybody else was still in, like, their khakis and, like, a nice polo.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But we got a lot of clips, little snippets of Travis. There was no sign of Taylor.
Which we
rumors. Yeah, there's rumors everywhere. this weekend in New York, Gigi Hadid had her 30th birthday party. And there are some rumors that Taylor was there, like through a back entrance. I have seen somebody sent us a DM this morning. Did I see the pictures of what looks to be one of Taylor's security guards in Gigi's party? It's very blurry and dark. That's not the same guy. Like, I've seen the side by side. It's not the same guy. That dude in that picture is much larger and taller than that one security guard that's always with Taylor. I'm going to go, I don't think Taylor was there, because there are some pictures that have come out from like when Gigi was blowing out her candles, and any other birthday scenario we've seen Taylor in, she's always right there in the middle, and there's no sign of her.
So I also thought it was weird that we didn't see her, because I thought, well, if Travis isn't, like, we would get a pap walk if she was going to be at the party. I don't think she's trying to hide when she's at those kind of things. But she wasn't there. Then I was like, I don't think she was in Vegas with Travis. What do we think she's doing?
Well, okay, so I don't even think we've talked about this. So apparently Travis was at Coachella.
Oh.
So he and all his boys were apparently there. But he never left some like very secure VIP tents. But based on like backgrounds and pictures that his friends have posted and his background in the podcast last week, he was definitely there in the desert with the boys. There's rumors that she was there too. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea where she is, what we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. And it's only made the speculation grow.
Yeah. Like at first I would think there's no way they could be at these things and not be pictured. But then I'm like, they've gone months without being photographed. Like there's ways that they can do this.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I get it. She needs a break, but I keep coming back to that interview that she did with Time Magazine, where she talked about like, if your relationship has to be like digging an underground tunnel to a restaurant, like she's just not interested.
Right.
But yet here we are. Just nowhere. Nowhere to be found. I don't know. And of course, it's made all the speculation and rumors grow horrendously. Everything from her mom being sick to she's pulling a Kylie Jenner and she's pregnant. And like, come on, people, simmer down.
Well, I think what the issue is we went from having the Eras tour and her dating Travis. So it was like everything all at once. And we kept seeing her because she was touring every freaking day.
Right.
Then it's like, okay, the tour's over. Travis is on break for off season. Yeah. We're just not used to not getting all the content.
Yeah.
It's new to us.
It's very, it's sad. I think it's added to my cynicism. I need to live vicariously, and it's impossible to do that right now how we're living.
Yeah. If she just dropped the documentary or something give us something to make our lives happy.
Yeah. The Taylor Nation interns were definitely coming for violence last week. They just, started randomly posting things, very Eras Tour heavy.
Yes.
I don't know. And with the new the new and final / trademarks having been filed. So to use those two titles, Debut Taylor's version and Reputation Taylor's version, she has to use them by August 16th.
Which is not that far out.
Yeah. Like if we're talking announcement time, I mean, for one, it would have to be June at the latest.
Right.
But we're talking both. I don't know. It's very interesting. It does lead me back to the theory and thought that she will not release Debut.
Fair.
Because I just don't see, like, the twos were twoing. That was for TTPD. I don't believe that it's a double drop. I don't.
But it does make you wonder then why she was seen with like Shania Twain stuff and Faith Hill and all of that. Like that seems to lead back to Debut when it was more country heavy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. Though it is my least favorite, I will take it. I will take it. There are some songs on there I would love to hear with her like matured voice.
That would be very interesting. Yeah.
I think I'm so desperate for some sort of content that I came across on my For You page this weekend a clip from the Reputation tour when she performed Babe with Sugarland.
Oh.
And I probably watched it 25 times. I mean, we're desperate here. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
I get it. Good.
But anything else in the entertainment world that has struck you in the past week?
I don't think anything really that's come out.
Yeah.
No.
Well, we had a little news over the weekend. A few people had their dreams made come true with the NFL draft.
That is true.
And then we had some people that I don't think it went so
No.
much like a dream, more like a nightmare. Let's break it down. If you are not into football, NFL football, this is probably not the next, I don't know, probably 40 minutes of your life. But if you're like us, welcome. You're amongst friends and family.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went through and I broke my thoughts down by round. I don't know how you did yours. Ish. Okay, great. I'm sorry if we're keeping you up.
My bad.
Okay, first of all, let's just start where we normally start with any event. Any fashion notes to bring up?
Listen, I'm pretty sure I sent you a thing on Jalen Milroe because my immediate thoughts were spicy on that one. I did not love his outfit.
You don't like a brand. You don't like a brand name fiasco.
I don't like a brand. I hate with a burning passion a crap load of bling. You look stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boys,
you
do a small chain. That's fine. You don't need a big medallion hanging on it. I don't need 15 chains, 17 bracelets in a row. Like, it's a lot. And then his suit had these. Now, I will say his suit was fitted the best of anyone's suit the whole night.
Okay, I wanted to talk about the tailoring, which
it's not good.
It's an odd thing to bring up, but there were just some real serious train wrecks. Really started in the first 5 picks with Will Campbell from LSU that went to the Patriots. Now, he said that he went to a designer and he was looking through a lookbook and he picked that fabric that looked like a count from the 1980s.
They custom made it to his measurements and it did not lay right.
No, it was so thin. Was it linen? I mean, it looked like it was linen. The buttons looked like they were
very TJ Maxx.
Okay, the buttons looked temporary. Like, hey, I'm going to put this here as a placeholder. I need to come back with the real button, but I never came back.
Well, I feel like you could have gone to Dillard's and gotten a suit that looked so much nicer and probably a third of the price.
I was so taken aback. And I'm not familiar with Will Campbell.
No.
I feel like I became overly familiar with him this weekend. I think I stayed too long on his pick because then my algorithm became the Will Campbell show.
Oh, that's...
I texted you something, and I mean no disrespect by this, but I asked you, in all sincerity, was he deaf? Because he has a distinct voice, and you informed me that no, he's just extremely Southern.
He is
Louisiana. It became increasingly disturbing to me. There was something wrong with that young man. I also thought it was a horrific pick, but we'll get to that in a minute. So that took me aback. I will say maybe less flashy than in years past. I feel like
that is true.
I feel like the going to the draft is kind of slacking off a bit. Like, I get it. You don't want to come and have like a Lamar Jackson situation where you sit there for 3 days laying your head on the table. I get it.
And I think it just depends on who the person is. So even like Jackson Dart, he was planning to go, but he was like, I have so much family and I have so many coaches and friends that got me to this point. He was like, so for them to not be involved in that moment did not feel right to me. And because he couldn't get extra tickets because there's only so much space in your little box in the green room, he was like, we decided to just do it back in Utah. And I was like, you know what? I've never thought of it that way. Like, of course you want your family and stuff there, but like for these guys that have played football since they were kids and do have these coaches and teammates and things that mean so much, like that is a moment that you want to share with all those people. So it's starting to make more and more sense why these players don't want to necessarily go. I mean, I think they would all love to walk on the stage, but like it just means more to them to have their family and friends.
Well, I guess you say all that to say that you don't recommend building your own draft room slash
That
like a whole house.
that seems like a bridge too far.
Yeah. Unless we've got a pretty much overall consensus from people outside of my family that we're a number one pick. I just don't see doing that.
No, absolutely not.
We're gonna have some more.
That's fine, but
Yeah, we're going to have some more thoughts on Shedeur, but before we let him steal the show as he stole the draft, we'll talk about some other people first. So let's start with round one, which would only make sequential logical sense.
okay.
We kicked it off with Cam Ward. We knew that was going to happen. Takes a bit of the luster away because now we just already know, and they've kind of already started the dealings. I will say, I mean, I'm not super familiar with Cam's game because I didn't watch a lot of Miami football or, any of his other schools that he's been to. But I thought it was kind of a bleh pick. There was nothing exciting about it to me.
Well, but I think we've talked about that even leading up to the draft for this year is there were some teams that need quarterbacks, and this just was not the quarterback year. You had some that are like, you know what, they could probably go in and be a solid backup for you, but you don't have any great ones that are just everybody's chomping at the bit to try and get.
Yep.
So I don't think there really weren't more than maybe 2 or 3 that we were all like, where are they going to go? Where are they going to go? It just wasn't super exciting players.
I'll be honest. I think I'm going to stand by this. I do not think any quarterback that was drafted this weekend will be a starter in 2025.
Yeah.
Including Cam Ward. Now, what are they going to do? I don't know. There's a lot of rumors right now that Will Levis is probably going to get traded, but I don't see that either. Like, how did you hang on to him this long and not get rid of him already for something worth? I mean, there's not a lot of people out there right now.
Right. I mean, you need to sit on at least have him as a backup. I don't know. I would be interested. I would imagine that during training camp and everything, they're probably weighing their options. Is Cam going to be ready to start with us? Is he doing better than Will? Did Will mature in any of his skills and abilities over the offseason?
Yeah.
They have to look at.
I've seen where Will's name keeps coming up in trades. But again, I don't see teams like knocking down the door to get him.
No.
Even for a solid backup, I don't even see it.
No. He's going to be one of those where it's like a Zach Wilson. Like, that they're not good, and you're shocked when teams even pick them up for a QB 2 or 3.
Yeah.
How did you do that? Your agent must be really good.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know who this Drew, what's his name? Rosenhaus or whatever.
Yeah.
Like a big agent person. I don't know how he convinces people of what he convinces them of, but Godspeed, my friend. You were real good at your job.
Them, and then Jalen Hurts' agent.
Mm-hmm.
She really, I don't know, had any big names until she got him. I feel like she's got the majority of the Eagles in her, like, that's her roster.
Yeah, listen, she's making some serious money. So I don't know, but so at the second round, or in the second pick, we had our first big trade of the night, and probably I would say the most consequential trade of the entire draft. So the Jags traded up with the Browns and took the second pick. Now, I was unfamiliar with the fact that the Jaguars' new general manager is a whopping 34 years old.
I remember seeing that coming into the season. I had never heard him speak, though, until after the draft.
I'm going to go ahead. This may be spicy. I don't know. I think Travis Hunter is fantastic, right? I think he's a great athlete. He seems like a great kid. Was he worth all of that haul for a non-quarterback position? I don't think so.
I think they're trying to do whatever they can to make Trevor Lawrence successful. And they're like, maybe we could get him a weapon. Could this be our weapon that we get? I don't know.
Listen, as much as that kid's wanting to play on both sides of the ball, he's going to be lucky to make it the whole season without getting hurt.
Yeah. He's going to have to bulk up.
Yeah.
this off season. I will say I loved that he went to the draft with his family and let them have that moment there. I was real afraid that he was going to stay back in Colorado, and then the whole Sanders thing would have overwhelmed his spotlight. So I was glad he got to have his moment.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see him without Deion's tutelage. If I'm him, I don't love where I ended up, but
I did think it was interesting. He said he had not talked to Jacksonville since the combine. So I wonder if he even thought, now he did say the night before, he was like, I just had a feeling. So he was looking up houses on Zillow or something.
Yeah.
Jacksonville. But I was like, I do wonder, it's got to be so weird for these guys to be like, I don't know where I'm going to live tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like
I could not function in that space.
No, it's like when those medical students like find out where they're going to go do their residency. Like, what a life-altering moment that can seriously make or break your career. And I don't know. We'll hope for the best. The other notes that I had from round one, the Raiders got Ashton Genty. I gotta say, I'm nervous about the Raiders now. Like, I mean, they got some really good talent. They got Jack Beck also. And you got to remember, Jack Beck's brother, Tiger, was one of the ones killed in the terrorist attack in New Orleans on the 1st. And no one plays harder than someone who has something or someone to play for.
Yep.
And I think he was a decent talent before, but I'm telling you, I think he will.
Even towards the end of their season, it's like he took it up a whole other notch.
Yeah, I'm as a Chiefs fan, I'm not pleased.
Yeah.
We'll see. But that teamed with Pete Carroll coaching, Brock Bowers, even Geno Smith. Like, I'm nervous as a Chiefs fan.
Yeah. I will say my favorite reactions in the first round, Tyler Booker going to the Cowboys. He's an Alabama boy. I'm going to tell you, that was a kid that thoroughly took in the moment of, oh my gosh, I'm living my dream right now. Like, he was running and jumping. He picked up Jalen and started running with him. And he was just like giggling as he ran down the tunnel. And I thought, what a cool thing when you can like fully take it in and you're not trying to like put on I'm too cool for this.
Yeah.
I loved that. I loved Maxwell Hairston, who was just dapping up every guy. Like, he just, and I don't know him. I didn't watch him. His name did not stick out to me. But just seeing guys hype up other guys when he wasn't even having his moment yet. Yeah. And then when he got it, like, I was in tears for most of the first round watching them. It was just so cool to see.
Yeah. You know, when the draft happens, and I, as a parent of a kid who plays sports too, think about this a lot. You can definitely tell whose parents really did a bang up job and those that really, we missed the boat. And it's a bit of a like word of encouragement to me as a parent, yet / accountability to like do a better job at my job with my child. Because if he got up there and made a fool of me,
listen, I'd be walking out on that stage.
Yeah, it wouldn't be pretty.
Home training, act like it. I did think while I was watching the draft Thursday night, I was taking note of like who looked ridiculous in the families and the friend groups and who like played it cool and what they were wearing. And I was like, I need to note this because I will be there when Judd is getting drafted to whatever he wants to draft to. I'll be in the back, but I'm going to be there.
I did notice this year a lot more like overtly obvious like rubs between moms and girlfriends. You know, there's always a little kind of unspoken tension that you can kind of see, especially if they're still a girlfriend and not a wife. But this year I felt like the mamas were like real in your face about, hey, I don't like you. In fact, there were several mothers that were like shooing the girlfriend out of the scene.
Here's the thing. Those videos live on in infamy. They stick around forever. And if
Russell Wilson's first wife. We'll have that video in our head.
That one's still tough to watch. Yeah. But I did think when I was sitting there thinking, and I was like, you know what? If my kid was here and he had a girlfriend, I would also have her on a separate couch. Like, once it's going to be his moment, I want him to take it in, and I want his family to get to experience that. And if I was the mom of a girlfriend, I'd be like, hey, step to the side. Like, let him have his moment with his family that's been there all this time. I realize she's important to him as well. He'll come to you and give you a hug. Like, you don't have to be all up in there. Like Jack Besh, he was loving on all his family and friends, and his girlfriend even kind of scooted to the side. And after he did all that, then he leaned in and gave her a hug. So like, you still saw it, but I understand. Listen, these girlfriends might not be around forever. They might get done real fast.
And if they're right in the center next to the player, how are we supposed to edit the photo when
Right.
they're not in the picture? You got to move a whole person out of the middle.
Now listen, if you're engaged, or there was that one player that got engaged right after he got drafted this year,
yeah,
then I get it. She can be right there. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, like if we've got and if they're married already, I'm fine with it.
Uh-huh.
But it's the girlfriends, I'm like, you could be gone tomorrow. Like,
now, I did notice Travis Hunter's mom and his fiance, they were like hand in hand the whole night. Both of them. Loved that. Now, granted, they are engaged, so it's different than just a girlfriend. But I did love that. Like it was like a family unit.
Yeah. Let's see. My other first round notes. Some of the things that surprised me, the Saints going for an offensive tackle instead of a quarterback with their current quandary with Derek Carr's shoulder. We'll get to their pick for a quarterback in the second round, but I was just shocked. One thing that nearly put me in the bed was Derek Harmon talking about his mom. He was the Steelers' first round pick. He couldn't wait to get to the hospital. She was in ICU to let her know he'd been drafted, and then she died.
She was on life support. I can't.
Yeah. Again, you don't want a kid who's playing for somebody. Like, as an opponent, you don't want that kid. Matthew Golden got drafted by the Green Bay Packers, and this ties to my notes that I have on the transfer portal and NIL. This young man is now the highest paid wide receiver in the Green Bay locker room, and he's never touched the field in an NFL game.
Why?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Listen, I don't understand the salary ranges that we have going on here, but that's
so drastic. Jackson Dart getting drafted to the Giants. A lot of people were really surprised by this. We all know I was super big on Jackson Dart at the beginning of last season. Remember, he was my Heisman. He was who I thought Ole Miss was going to go all the way. What an interesting scenario to walk into with Russell Wilson. I would assume the presumptive starter at this point.
Yeah.
You got Jameis Winston, you got Tommy DeVito, and now Jackson Dart. What an interesting locker room. Like,
well, and you know what's even more interesting? I was watching, it was some clip I saw on TikTok of like a interview that Jackson Dart was doing way before the draft.
Yes,
and they said, like, one quarterback that you would love to be in the quarterback room with or work with. And he said Jameis Winston. And I thought, now that's so interesting. But he just kept saying, he was like, he's a football guy. He can talk football. And I was like, that's interesting that you said that. And now you get to play with him.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see Jackson's career trajectory. I think he walked into a great situation.
Yes.
Because I do think he strikes me as a kid who's willing to learn and earn his way.
Mm-hmm.
I think Russell Wilson would be a fantastic mentor.
I was even thinking that, like, what a great level-headed guys, vets. They've both been in the NFL forever. They could both retire, but they can give you so much perspective on, enjoy the hype and enjoy this and that, but like, this is your job, and to kind of rein it in and keep him in check. I think he walked into an amazing situation for a first year.
Yeah. I think it was great for both parties, for the Giants and for him. One thing that surprised me in the first round was that, and actually the entire draft, was the Buffalo Bills. They did not get any weapons for Josh Allen.
No.
And I just really am surprised by that.
Now there's still going to be trades and stuff. There's something with like a June 1st date. So maybe they were wanting some more veteran type weapon. I don't know.
I just, there's not a lot of wide receiver names out there. So I guess we'll see. Our Chiefs went with a legitimate left tackle in Josh Simmons from Ohio State. I loved this pick. He did miss most of this last season with a knee injury. I think without that knee injury, though, he was a top 10 pick. And listen, we all know we need a left tackle. Okay.
Right.
I mean, we're desperate at this point. So, and this dude is a mountain of a human being. I mean, he's enormous.
Large.
So I'm excited about it. I think he's a great pick. I think we definitely got a steal. Like, I think even with the knee injury, I'm shocked he fell to 31.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were my first round pick thoughts. Any other thoughts on the first round from you?
I don't think so. I think we touched all on mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Round 2, I thought for absolute certain that this is where Shedeur Sanders was going to go to the Saints. You could not have convinced me otherwise. I couldn't have been more blindsided. Never in a million years would I have thought Tyler Shaw from Louisville would be the Saints pick.
Listen,
what are we doing?
That, I don't remember his name ever in college football, which is crazy because he's been there for 17 years.
Yeah, like he was in the same recruiting class as Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are we doing?
I don't understand these guys playing. He's 26 and married. He's been married.
Yeah, I completely adore all the memes that are like the Saints could not have had a better draft pick to ensure that they land Arch Manning next year.
100%. 100%.
You're spot on, because this kid is most likely going to start games this season because they literally have nothing else.
Yeah, that was an interesting pick for sure, especially given, and again, not crazy great quarterbacks, but there were a handful of better quarterbacks, I thought.
I mean, there are still some guys that didn't get drafted that I still think are better than this kid. Yeah. So
No, that was interesting for sure.
Mason Taylor went to the Jets, just like his Hall of Fame father, Jason Taylor. I always love when somebody goes and plays for their dad's team.
That's got to be the coolest thing for a parent.
Because they get to have those pictures of the little kid dressed up in this Jets gear at his dad's game to all of a sudden you're a Jet, like, I love that.
Yeah.
I believe in the round 2 that the Chiefs began to usher in the future post Travis Kelce and Chris Jones.
Yeah.
By going and getting Omar Norman Lott from Tennessee. For defensive tackle, I think he's probably the long-term, or the desire is for him to become the long-term replacement for Chris Jones. And
yeah,
I mean, great spot for him to land, because getting to learn from Chris is probably going to be enormously helpful for his career. But the sadness has already begun for me. It's already begun.
Yeah. I do love, though, that I feel like the Chiefs do a solid job of getting some of these younger guys in to learn under these vets, because, and we've always said the Chiefs just do it different. Those players play as a team. They're not playing for their own name in the media. They're not playing for their own deals. And I think that's so important for some of these younger guys to come in and see, like, this is what the locker room should look like. This is how you bond with your teammates. Because I feel like they do a really good job of that as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think that we're like filling in holes too. But I do think that we're kind of gearing up for like the next iteration of the Chiefs. Yeah. Which actually led me to a little, and I know this may sound outlandish because he's only like, 29, but I am a little surprised we're not looking towards the future with a quarterback.
Okay, I kind of thought that too. Like, maybe
I know Patrick's got several more years in him, but our backup game, now that we didn't re-sign Carson Wentz, which I still don't understand. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, we need a solid backup.
Yeah, I don't love Gardner Minshew, so.
No, that can't be our answer.
In round 3, we got Ashton Gillette, the edge from Louisville. So it turns out he's been working out with George Karlaftis for months. How do these people get connected?
That's what I wonder. Do they have the same agent maybe? Or their agents?
Perhaps. I didn't think about that. That's probably it. Yeah.
But I'm like, even if you're not going to go to that team, what a cool thing to be able to put on your resume that, like, that's the guy that I train with.
Yeah, in round 3, we actually had 2 picks. We also got Noel Williams from Cal, which I did not, he's a cornerback. I did not realize he led the FBS in interceptions last season.
Oh, good for us.
Yeah, exactly. So, we lost Snead last season. And so McDuffie had to kind of flip over to that role, which is not where it's
not a strong suit.
The best at it, and he did phenomenal. So I think adding him is a great look towards the future. And then Dylan Gabriel went to the Cleveland Browns, which becomes even more interesting in subsequent.
That was, besides the Tyler Shook of it all, that shocked me.
Yeah.
Like, they need a quarterback, and that was, you were like, this is our guy.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, and we'll get into it later too, like, I don't think that they know what to do in the quarterback position.
No. Well, okay. Pop quiz. Don't look at anything. Name 2 wide receivers from the Cleveland Browns.
I couldn't tell you a single one.
Exactly my point. Like, we just, like, we've got Myles Garrett. We also went defense a lot in this draft and in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
What? You have to score points to win.
But do you remember? Now, we all know why Myles Garrett actually stayed with the Browns. It was
right.
Yeah. Then he was like, well, we had discussions, and they had a solid plan at the quarterback spot. Did they, my guy? Because this shows they don't.
I'm like real solid in believing that the Browns thought and told Myles Garrett, hey, we're either going with Russell or Aaron Rodgers.
I guess they were saying anything to keep him at that point, because what are we? Even Aaron Rodgers would have made more sense.
Yeah, that's where we're at. That's how bad it is.
No, it's crazy.
Yeah. So in round 4,
also went in the 3rd round.
That's right. I missed him. Yes, he went in a really good spot for him to the Seahawks.
I think that's a great fit. Now, here's where Sam Darnold is there, I'm assuming, starter, or are we saying Drew Lock's the starter?
No.
Okay, but
I mean, you could go either way.
I just think that, like, that'll be true competition. They're all going to have to try and, like, be good. One up each other.
They did trade away Sam Howell, so which I mean, no one's going to notice the difference. I mean,
no.
So I think it's a great spot for Jalen.
I was so excited that he went. I was so excited that he went before Shedeur.
Well, the Dylan Gabriel pick becomes even more controversial when we get to round 5. In round 4, though, I hate to even say this, but I love Jack Sawyer. And it's not that I hate saying I love him, but he's from Ohio State.
I know.
But he went to the Steelers, and I think that was a great spot for him. I just love that kid.
He and Will Howard are going to be united with the Steelers.
Yeah.
And we love that.
Yeah. And then the Chiefs got Jalen Royals from Utah State, a wide receiver. Of course, Chiefs fans, Kansas City people alike, are just over the moon because they're finally going to get a Chiefs jersey with the last name Royals on the back. It's just like Kansas City.
Yeah.
But like everything I've seen of this dude, like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it on.
They made some solid picks.
Yeah, I mean, Brett Veach did what Brett Veach does. I didn't have anything else in round 4. Round 5 at pick 144, we finally heard the name Shedeur Sanders.
And I'm going to tell you, I've never seen a more defeated draft room from an organization than the Cleveland Browns.
They could not have looked more pissed off. There could not have been a more obvious owner steps in and says, we're doing this, than that very moment. Because I think the owner was like, hey, guys, bring it in. We're not going to win any games regardless of who you pick here. So let's make some money by being in the media. Okay, can we just do that?
Did you listen? Well, and also the quarterback coach was Deion's teammate when they played.
Yeah.
I mean,
couldn't have been more obvious. Like,
but did you listen to any of the clips where, like, because when the draft room is calling these guys and they're like, man, you deserved it. Like, we're so pumped to have you. Can't wait to get you in here. Did you hear when the Cleveland Browns were talking to Shedeur and they were like, you got to earn this spot. Like, you have to get in here and you have to work and you have to prove this to us. And I was like, that's a different vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously there's been much made of Shedeur falling all the way to the 5th round to the 144th pick. I think when we started the year 2025 AD, the year of our Lord 2025, I think everyone thought Shedeur was a top 10 pick. But I think it's just another example of how we can all, and when I say we, I don't mean you and I, because neither one of us agree with this on Shedeur, but we as a society collectively get so caught up in the soundbite, we totally miss the real story. And the real story of Shedeur Sanders is he is a subpar talent, with a real bad attitude, and a psycho daddy to boot.
Well, and I think there were parts of me that I felt really bad for him, because your parents have put an atmosphere around you where I bet he was thoroughly shocked he did not go.
Oh,
I can't imagine the mental games he was playing with himself, because everyone around you has hyped you up and said nobody else knows what they're talking about. You're the best in the world. My man, you haven't won championships. You don't have the greatest record. You didn't change cultures for any of the teams you play for. Your daddy did. And so for you to stand there and take credit for that was crazy. And then for you to be cocky enough to build a draft room for your draft night and have all these celebrities there was crazy. Like it's the whole personality is wild to me. I was hoping maybe he would learn a little bit of a lesson in humility and having to now work instead of relying on our name. And I don't know that that lesson was learned.
Yeah, if we saw the after pics of the party they threw, I'm going to say no. No, that didn't set in. I have always said I do not see Shedeur having like this Hall of Fame career in the NFL. I just don't see it. I also see that locker room as being a complete and utter disaster. I mean, you've got his personality walking in the door. You've got old man Joe Flacco, probably I would guess as your starter right now. You still have Deshaun Watson that you're paying a very large bag to for nothing.
Yeah.
And then you got Kenny Pickett from the Eagles, who's very confident that he should be a starter. And I just would not want to be in that locker room for love nor money. Like,
I mean, I think you've got Pickett and Flacco who are duking it out for QB1, QB2. And then you've got Dylan and Shedeur that are going for QB3 and 4, which don't they only keep now 3 quarterbacks?
Yeah, somebody will get cut or traded. Yeah, I don't know what they do with that room, because I mean, can you even trade? Like, could they even trade Dylan Gabriel at this point?
That's what I was thinking. If you draft somebody, don't you have to keep them?
I think so. I don't really know. I don't.
Maybe Flacco gets cut.
Well, are you pass Kenny Pickett on again? But I mean, you just brought him in, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But then the Chiefs in this round got Jeffrey Bassa from Oregon, a linebacker. Now, of note, his 40-yard dash at the combine matched the speeds of a tight end. So
we'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Spags got him quite the bag at the draft, so I'm excited to see what he does.
Yep.
Then we went on to round 6, where 2 of our favorites, Riley Leonard and Will Howard, got drafted to the Colts and the Steelers.
Yes.
I think the Steelers not going quarterback until round 6 tells me that they're real confident Aaron Rodgers is going to sign with them.
Who do they have right now?
Mason Rudolph.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not drafting round 6 and planning for that person to be a starter.
No. And I don't think you're going Will Howard and thinking he's going to be a starter.
So what do you think happens if they don't get Aaron Rodgers? Do they trade with him and get another vet?
Well, Will Levis keeps getting mentioned with the Steelers. I don't see that being your answer either. And I can't imagine how pissed off DK Metcalf is currently. No. He's probably like, why did I leave Seattle? What did I do? Yeah.
What's happening? Yeah.
The Chiefs did not have a pick in round 6, but in round 7, they went with Rashard Smith, the running back from SMU. I actually really like this.
I like this one too.
He's kind of little. But he did set the SMU single season program record for all-purpose yards with like almost 2,000 yards. And he's one of only 3 running backs to run a sub 4.4 in the combine.
Okay. We do like speed.
So, yeah, I see him as being like the little speedy back, maybe kickoffs, especially now that McCole is gone.
Yep.
That's kind of where I'm seeing him. Quinn Ewers finally got drafted to Miami. I think that's a great spot for him because Lord knows he'll get some playing time. Tua will be hurt. We can all rest assured.
Yep. You're going to play quite a few snaps here.
And your favorite, Tez Johnson, got drafted in this round.
He sure did. I'm so excited for him.
The only thing that made me sad was 6 picks later was the Broncos, and he could have been there with his brother.
He could have. I didn't realize he's like the tiniest one that was in the draft. He's a little now.
I didn't see that either.
Yeah, he's the skinniest person that was in the draft this year, the draft class.
Huh. We also had the Mr. Irrelevant pick, went to Kobe Minor from Memphis, cornerback to the Patriots.
Yeah.
And that rounded out like the official rounds. In the undrafted hoopla, Shedeur Sanders finally got picked up, went to the Bucks.
Yep.
Fire his daddy as his manager so he could get a real one in Drew Rosenhaus and get a job.
Right. Listen, I feel like they should have done that way before.
Yeah.
When he said that Deion was their agent, I was surprised only because, like, Deion's busy. How are you?
They're all just so delusional, though. It's a whole different thing. Jake Brenningstool from Clemson, tight end, got picked up by the Chiefs. So, again, I think they're trying to find something that makes sense for kind of a tight end, too, since you've got Noah Gray, who I assume will be the presumptive replacement for Travis. But
right,
kind of need a second one. So, who knows what's going to happen with Jared Wiley. So, they picked up a undrafted guy in Jake Brenningstool.
Yeah.
So, we shall see. All right, tell me this. How many? You maybe have more than one. I only have one. Well, who was your favorite pick from the draft?
I think Jackson Dart going to the Giants was my absolute favorite one of the night. Yeah. I loved that.
It was my runner-up pick. I really do love that for him. And again, I think it's a great fit. I went, and again, this does not make me happy, but I went Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders. You got to remember the Raiders last season were dead last in rushing.
Yeah.
And Ashton Jeanty is quite the pickup.
Yes.
I don't love it. Okay. What about your worst pick of the draft?
My worst pick, the Cleveland Browns quarterback choices.
So I have Dylan Gabriel and Tyler Shaw. Both are horrible picks. Neither one deserved those picks, and both will amount to absolutely nothing with who they got drafted with.
Yeah. Listen, I can't wait to see some of these boys play a couple of snaps in the NFL. If we're proven wrong, we will be the first ones to come back on here and say that we were wrong. I don't think that we will be this year.
No. Who won the draft for you? Which teams?
Well, Georgia, the SEC won because they got the most.
Let's see. The SEC had 79 picks, 13 from Georgia. Your Alabama Crimson Tide came in a little further down the list with only 7 picks.
We didn't have the star power.
Yeah, this is fine.
But I think the team that won for me was the Las Vegas Raiders.
Same, and I hate it.
I know. With them, I mean, you took Ashton Jeanty, you took Besh, Rogers, Grant. Like, they got some talent in there this year.
Yeah, it's not good.
I think
they won the draft for me as well. I did have an honorable mention for the Chiefs. I thought they did well.
Yeah.
Again, very obviously planning to the future, but I think it was good. Maybe not immediate impacts, but we'll see those names.
I think the Giants also did really well with their picks.
Yeah. There were a lot more teams, though, that I felt like did not get what they needed, and I don't know why they didn't.
It did seem like the year of, like, let's just go for who names and who we think is the best in the draft, not necessarily for what our needs are.
Yeah, and that leads to my who lost the draft. I picked the Bengals and the Saints. The Bengals definitely focused on defense, which makes sense, especially because they haven't solved their Trey Hendrickson issue, but they got a lot of defensive players, but nobody that's like massive impact coming in. And that surprised me. And then with the Saints, you got 9 picks and not any of them made better sense than Tyler Shaw.
Yeah. I also had the Saints. Saints and the Cleveland Browns. Just your picks felt like we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, it was very strange. I don't understand that at all.
No. Very odd.
Uno momento. Okay, I'm gonna stop this,
I guess.
All right, sorry for the brief intermission. So okay, yeah. So those were the people that lost. Were there any like significant surprises outside of the Shedeur Sanders situation for you?
I think for me, the only thing that really surprised me was just the order that some of those quarterbacks got picked.
Yeah,
seemed a little lopsided. But again, there were quarterbacks that I didn't watch a ton of their games. I wasn't invested in how they did throughout the whole season.
Yeah,
but just some of them seemed a little surprising.
Yeah. There were a couple of Razorbacks that got picked that I didn't see happening. Isaac Tesla went to the Lions. And he's not bad, but I'm like, we're so inefficient. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
KJ Jefferson, that used to be our quarterback, did not get drafted at all.
Yep.
He was one of those guys that's kind of like Travis. I don't see him being drafted as a quarterback, but maybe a tight end.
Okay.
So I don't know. I was a little surprised by that. But yeah, I think overall, I was just surprised at how many people did not draft according to their actual needs.
Yeah. Now, I did see Mizzou's quarterback Brady Cook did not get drafted, but he did go as an undrafted free agent to the Jets. So we shall see.
So the Jets have what? They've got Justin Fields. And is Tyrod Taylor still there?
I don't think so. Let me look.
So Brady
Justin Fields, Jordan Travis, and Tyrod Taylor. So he might say, who's Jordan Travis?
Never even heard of him.
He played at Arizona?
Jordan Travis. Huh, never heard of him.
No, Florida State Seminoles. He was drafted
Oh, yeah. He was the guy that was their quarterback the year they were undefeated, like last year. Was that last year? And they felt like they should have. But then, then he got hurt and they tanked.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. God, I forgot about that dude. That ought to tell you something.
You.
So one of the things that I took away from the draft, and I've tried to have real heart to heart with Judd about this. I don't think it landed, but a couple of things that I hope kids today get from this draft, and I can tell you based on my conversation with Judd, they're not getting it. At least not the almost 10-year-olds. They're not getting it.
Yeah.
Number one is humility can take you a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. That's the Shedeur Sanders of it all right there.
Yes.
Also, what I wanted Judd to take from this draft, and all kids that are football wannabes, right? Just look at how many people were drafted that were not quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
These kids that slough off the idea of being a lineman, I get it. It's not sexy, right? But it really pays the bills.
It really does. And
it seems like you're going to make a lot of money in the draft by being not one of one,
Well, and I think another lesson to pull from that is there are going to be teams, companies in your life that maybe you just don't love working there. You don't want to go there. Don't burn that bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, if Shedeur taught you nothing, don't in your head think I'm only going to play for this team or this team. And so I'm just going to go crap the bed when I meet with these other teams. Because how many times in the NFL do you get traded and you don't have a say in it?
Yeah.
If you're getting traded to a team that already does not have the highest thought of you, that's going to be an uphill climb that you've got to fight every day.
Well, and I think it's a good reminder to kids who don't always get the spotlight.
Yes.
To remember that the person always in the spotlight does not mean that they are the best available player out there.
Yeah.
And everybody's day comes. Does it come when you want it to? Does it come when you think you deserve it? No. Your day will come.
Yep.
And if there are those other kids on your team or opponents that seem to always get everything and you feel like you kind of fall behind,
Yeah.
Don't give up. This is what I'm trying to teach Judd.
I mean, how many 5-star recruits into college didn't get drafted? And then you got Cam Ward, who was a 0-star recruit, going number 1.
Yeah. Just think that, like, there's a lot to be learned from this draft. And I think there's a lot for society to realize in this draft, and they are completely missing the boat.
Yeah.
Making the Shedeur Sanders thing, and I tread lightly in saying this, but making the Shedeur Sanders fall about anything more than football, I think, is a gross injustice to these people who are truly experts in the field.
Well,
These guys are GMs and coaches and all of that. They're not new. This isn't their first rodeo.
And I can tell you, there's this collusion going on in the NFL. Those teams would step on the neck of another team if it meant they could win a Super Bowl. They're not colluding to say, we don't want this kid to come in. How many, the variety of ethnicities within the NFL is crazy. So you can't say this is a race thing. You can't, it is pure talent. You have these scouts and these coaches who have done this for, like you were saying, years and years. They know what they're looking for, and they know when they see certain things in people, what that translates to in the NFL, and they're not willing to mess with it.
Well, and I've seen everybody saying, like, oh, when you go out and buy Shedeur's jersey, make sure you order it from his website and not the NFL. Don't give them money. Guys, who do you think you're hurting? Like,
what I feel like would have been a more believable theory with why Cleveland took him. Instead of the NFL saying, guys, don't take this player, nobody wants him on theirs, I could see the NFL organizations for the teams coming together and paying Cleveland Brown to be like, could you just take this one for the team? Just take this guy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with Shedeur. But I wanted to have that like moment with Judd where I saw the light bulb click on. I didn't have it.
No.
So
I will tell you, I need Hard Knocks to follow the Cleveland Browns.
Woo! Yeah.
I really need to see what this looks like in practice.
I can't even imagine. Yeah. And I've seen already that allegedly Dion is like going to his first team meetings with him. I just hope this is all a rumor.
It has to be fake.
Please let it be fake news.
Listen, Cleveland Browns, if you have any ounce of professionalism, don't let somebody's daddy come to work with them.
Yeah. Oh man, it's gonna be.
I hope if he does, I hope every player brings their daddy so that they can see how ridiculous this is.
If I'm Myles Garrett, I can't wait for that first practice when I can pop the quarterback,
nail his ass.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, he needs a welcome to NFL moment a few times.
Yeah. Okay. Any other NFL draft thoughts?
I don't think so. I mean, it was pretty good. It was good to see it was kind of nice to see how some of these other guys got attention because there weren't any big name quarterbacks. Heck, we even saw some kickers go.
I did think it was interesting the Ravens picked up a kicker with the Justin Tucker situation unfolding. I think that
good on them.
Yeah, they probably a smart move, but we'll see.
Yep.
All right. Would you like to answer some questions?
I would love to.
All right. So this is from Sal. And they said, I'm a bit behind, but just listen to your PR episode with your guest. What are some of the most scripted things in Hollywood that you can recall, PR stunts and the like?
I mean, that was a good one. I was I was having a hard time thinking of some. I think that a lot of times we get more like staged dating and romances and stuff.
Yeah.
But the one that really stuck out to me was Amber Heard leading up to when she was having all those issues with Johnny Depp before they even went to trial and like staging the photos with like the bruise on her face that was probably makeup and things like that. Those just seem to be crazy. Or there was somebody that was staging like a whole bunch of like, I'm such a good parent pictures with their kids. And I can't remember who it was now. It'll come to me as we talk. But that one just really stood out to me of one that I could remember. I'm sure there's 50 bajillion other ones that I'm not thinking of.
Well, so I'm going to have a surprising pick here.
Okay.
As of late, there has been a very...
I didn't be recent. I was trying to be nice.
This is, I feel like this bears me mentioning based on the questions we get all the time. But there's been a very obvious PR plan in place with Blake Lively.
Yeah.
If you watched anything on social media over the past 2 weeks, Vogue has posted on, at least they're on their social medias, no less than like 12 stories about Blake.
It's a lot.
And Blake is very close with Anna Wintour, who is obviously,
those personalities fit.
Yeah, obviously Vogue herself. So that feels very scripted.
Yeah.
And so I was going to call that out. That does not mean that I'm Team Justin. I'm just saying it's very obvious.
I think that's fair.
Someone that we have criticized this family before on here, and we'll continue to do so. But I must say, from a PR standpoint, Kris Jenner knows what she is doing.
She masterclass.
I mean, it's impeccable. And then also, I think it's really fun as a Taylor fan to have like what some may consider like inside baseball, but I mean, there's millions of Swifties and we all know this. Like you can very much tell when something comes from Tree and when it doesn't.
Yes.
And so anything that comes, not anything, but most things that come out with an exclusive source in People or ET, Entertainment Tonight, it's always Tree. And so it's just fun to feel like you have this inside baseball knowledge, which isn't really just me. Like tons of people know this.
That's true.
It's fun to be able to call it out.
Right.
And so I think that what I have learned the most about PR in the past year is that everything is a PR stunt. Everything.
I will say, I think it is getting harder. Now, I think that there are some situations with like when it comes to the Kardashian family or with like Blake Lively so much lately where it's obvious that there's a PR spin to this. But I think that people are getting so good that you're like, I don't listen. This could be real, but it could be a PR thing. Like they're really good at tricking us now.
Yeah. It's impressive.
Yeah.
And still completely fascinating to me. It never loses its luster on me.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Olivia. What's on repeat on your music apps right now? I need some new music. I like everything except death metal.
Listen, that's
same.
A lot.
Olivia, I don't like death metal. I didn't know we called it that, but same.
I mean, I probably haven't heard that term in 20 years, but yeah.
Who do you have? I'm sure we've got a little
house. Forrest Frank has been, that's our every morning. We've got Forrest Frank playing.
Okay.
And then besides that, I've got country radio typically playing. Thomas Rhett has a bunch of new music out. Russell Dickerson has a bunch of new music out. Lainey Wilson. So those are kind of, until we get Rep TV, I will keep my country radio going.
Yeah, I've been on a grilled jelly roll kick lately.
Yes.
I mean, I just love him anyway, but a lot of his songs, that song, I Am Not Okay, is really my anthem right now.
Yeah.
So it's a really good one. Haim has come out with some new music, and they have announced a new album coming out in June. I'm excited about that. I've been kind of in an Ed Sheeran kick lately. He's kind of like, I would say that Ed Sheeran is like the new John Mayer.
I think that's a good correlation there.
Yeah. And so I've been on an Ed Sheeran kick. And then there's this indie artist. I don't know if you've heard about her. Her name's Taylor Swift.
That sounds familiar.
So listen, it may not be every song I listen to, but I can assure you, if my car ride is over 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to have at least one Taylor song come on.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay. I'm guessing this is from Puka.
Nakua. Yeah.
Puka Nakua. Oh, okay. Yeah. Clearly. I didn't even think of that. Our parents' generation all has their quote, I know where I was when Kennedy was shot moments. What are the most memorable pop culture moments of your lifetime? Puka,
that's a good question.
This is a great question, and I struggled, but I came up with a few.
Okay, I'm Googling something real quick because I just thought of it.
Okay, well, I'll say that.
So the first one that came immediately to mind is 9/11. I feel like that's our generation's like big. What we doing? I was in my freshman year of high school biology class, when it first happened and it started coming onto the radios, because I remember that was right when we were like, we think a plane hit the tower, but then I also vividly remember them saying, but a plane also hit Mall of America. Like everything is getting destroyed. Like it was just chaos. But I remember being at school and all of the teachers, because we were hearing rumblings. And so they're trying to give us information. If they had a TV in their classrooms, like they were playing them. But it was also kind of like should we let kids see this? Because that was really the first big thing that we had all experienced. But I just remember sitting in biology class when that happened.
Yeah, I would say 9/11 is definitely our Kennedy's been shot moment. In the entertainment world, some of the things that stuck out to me, the nip slip from the Super Bowl with Justin Timberlake, Janet Jackson. I remember where I was when Michael Jackson died. I was living in St. Paul, Minnesota, working for Senator McCain.
Okay.
And then Princess Diana dying.
Oh, on a Sunday. I remember waking up. Yep.
Those were kind of some sad ones there, but some memorable, fun ones. Prince William and Catherine's wedding.
Yes.
That was a big one for us, too. That was pretty much all I can really think of, though.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of things that have happened. I mean, I think COVID.
Oh.
Well, COVID may actually be like our kids. I know where I was when Kennedy was shot, you know?
It's possible, yeah. Especially, yeah. I mean, I remember with COVID, because we were in the middle of moving, like different cities. That was, Doug was already living in San Antonio. We were still back in Tyler trying to sell a house, trying to buy a house. I will never forget looking at houses and there was one house that the people that lived there, because it was COVID, you had to put a full hazmat suit on to walk through their house. And I just thought, what in the world are we living through?
Yeah, you're in a science experiment currently.
Like going to Walmart and the grocery store, there's armed guards. You're not walking in if you don't have a mask on. Like, that's a crazy thing that I think we'll all look back on and remember those little things and be like, I can't believe we lived during a time like that.
Oh, it's crazy. All right, from Tevin. If your son was going to play college football, where would you want him to go, or what coach would you want him to play for, and why for both?
So my answer surprised me a little bit, and I think I had watched. So I picked Lane Kiffin in Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
I watched his full interview on the Pivot podcast.
So good.
It was so good. And I think a lot of us remember the Lane Kiffin from like Alabama days, Tennessee, when he was young and cocky and trying to make a name for himself. And it was like, maybe you're going a bridge too far here. Yeah. So I think the Lane Kiffin of today that kind of has taken it all in and understands like what's actually important to him. I was thoroughly impressed by him and just like his strategy of like, no, I'm trying to set these kids up for success. If that's on the football field or not, like, building their character is important to me. So he was who I went with for if I had a kid going to play college football. I want someone with that mindset. I want someone that's worried about them as a whole person and not just what can you give me on the field.
Yeah. My answer surprised me as well. I mean, Gus Malzahn will always be someone that I admire and respect and would love for Judd to play for. I don't want him to go to Florida State currently, though, so that works. My real answer, though, surprised me. I went Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah.
I know. Same. I respect what he's doing. Having my dad and my brother going to Texas A&M, my controversial pick here of wanting Judd to go to Texas is surmounting. I understand. Feels weird for me, too, but I just want him to go to a program if this is the route he goes. I want him to go to a program with a history behind it and alumni behind it, because if he doesn't make the NFL, having those contacts and those connections, I think is so important.
Yes.
So that is who I picked. Now, who I do not want him to play for, which you did not ask, but I will go ahead and share. I do not want my son to ever play for Brian Kelly. I don't know if you have seen this story about Greg Brooks Jr., who was like a stud at LSU. And then they discovered he had a brain tumor, and now he's in a wheelchair and very
paralyzed.
Yeah, very different than he used to be. Brian Kelly didn't even check on the dude.
Nope.
Like, just no support, nothing. So I'm
No.
completely out on him. Plus, he's just arrogant and stupid. But and then honestly, this is my surprising person I'm out on is Kirby Smart.
I was going to say Kirby Smart would probably be mine.
Listen, granted, in a football program in college, especially at that level, your head coach is like the overseer. Really, you've got these positional coaches that are really in the thick of it. But at the end of the day, accountability lies in the head coach. And the fact that Georgia spends so much of their time getting arrested, it's absurd. And so it really
there's no consequences. And
it really diminished Kirby to me, which is sad because Judd has a jersey in his closet right now that says Asbury and it's 16, and it's a Georgia Bulldog sweatshirt or jersey. And I would have said probably 2-3 years ago, I would have said that's where I'd want him to go and who I'd want him to play for, but not now
anymore. No. Yeah.
It's like the quote from Dark Knight. Sometimes you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. All right. You ready to do some Y Factor?
I am so ready to do some Y Factor.
All right. What are you not liking this week?
Listen, so my not for the Y Factor is going to have to go out to some families when your kid gets drafted.
Okay. Yeah.
Listen, I think we need some ground rules here. Here's the deal. We had a lot of big boys get drafted, and big boys come from big families.
Mm-hmm.
If your son is getting drafted and you've got a camera that is sending out to like ESPN, ABC, NFL Network, I'm going to need you to get a couch that's not sitting on the floor, because trying to watch you push yourself up off the couch while you're celebrating and all the parents falling on top of each other. We can't do that, folks. Also, we are going to implement the master's rule of no cell phones. No cell phones.
Yeah.
You look so dumb with everybody screaming and holding a phone and jumping up and down, because I'm going to tell you, when you go back to watch that video, it's literally just like chaos.
Yeah.
Put the phones down. You have ESPN clips that you can download and save that as your video that's got the full room. I hated, it didn't feel like people were taking the moment in, because you're so worried about streaming it live or getting the video clip or whatever. And I hated it so much. It annoyed me so much more than it should have. And so that's mine. Let's not do that.
We didn't talk about this, but I actually went with the prank callers from the draft.
Oh, yeah.
I get it. Shedeur needs to be knocked off his block. It turns out, sounds like he was not the only one that was pranked, but even him.
Yeah.
It's just not right. Like, sure, he may have all this hysteria and hoopla around him and all the crazy theatrics that the Sanders family is. He's still a kid that has a dream. And you just don't do that. No. And I understand that this guy took accountability for it, that he says he saw his dad's, the defensive coordinator of the Falcons' son did this. He said he saw his dad's open iPad. I don't know. I can't stand that. I also just
21. He was not a kid. He was 21. If this was like a 13, 15-year-old that did it, okay, I could understand how you had a lapse in judgment, but a 21-year-old knew better.
Yeah. I don't like pranks in general, so it's just not my vibe.
Again, we're old fuddy duddies.
We don't like to have fun. Stop
it's who we've become.
Okay, what are you liking this week?
What I'm loving this week is Court TV. Listen.
Oh, okay.
Then obviously we're kind of in our documentary era. I've not normally like a crime TV documentary. I've really leaned into it lately. Maybe because I've seen all the other documentaries, so I got to watch something else.
Right.
But Court TV, it like actually shows live court proceedings. Mm-hmm. And we have been blessed lately with, previously they had the Lori Vallow Daybell where she was defending herself. Those are my favorites to watch, is when a defendant is defending themselves that has no idea the rule of law. So we watched that. But also the Karen Reed trial is being streamed on there. And so I've really enjoyed it because I'd watched the documentary so I could be caught up on the first trial. But they have like people who were formerly judges and like well-known criminal defense attorneys district attorneys, that when they go to sidebar or when they're in recess and things, like they come on like it's a sports cast and they give you a breakdown, like why was this important that they noted, or what are they trying to, like they're saying this, but it's so that they can lead to pieces so they can get this put into trial. And I'm like, oh, this is fascinating. So I've really enjoyed, like on my lunch break, I'll just go sit and watch court trial.
Oh man, that's a good one though.
Get old.
Yeah, that is a good one.
What do
so
you?
I have a new artist to tell you about.
Oh, okay.
So we're both familiar with Teddy Swims.
Yes.
Okay, Teddy Swims has a girlfriend.
Yes.
And she's having a baby. Her name is Raish White. It kind of looks like Rachel, but with an I in there. Anyway, she's also a singer. She's kind of like a little bit of like a Macy Gray, Amy Winehouse, Etta James vibe. Like,
oh, no, that's an interesting mix.
Yeah, kind of like that. And I discovered her. Somebody posted a video of Teddy Swims, I think from Stagecoach this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Came out on stage and they sang that song, "You're Still the One," together.
Yeah.
Very unique. So I went like down a way far rabbit hole. And she's put out some music, some songs. I really enjoy it. It's just a different vibe. I always really liked Macy Gray, so but yeah, you should check her out.
I'm gonna have to find a clip of
They're
that.
very cute together. Like,
yes, I've seen them together. They are cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So that's all I got. You got anything else?
I like it. I think we covered the gamut here.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week with who knows what.
Listen, anything can happen.
Oh, it's the end of the month too.
We're probably going to also have a special episode come out.
Seems like on Friday you might get something else from us. We'll see. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.